Thank you so much, Ashish, for setting this up. I really appreciate all the help, and I know you were kind of doing all of this all by yourself. So thank you. The purpose of this session is to put you all in contact with some of your seniors who have really achieved something, all because of their hard work. I am not here to take any credit for their hard work. I'm just here to present the opportunity to you to meet with them and also listen to their advice. So that's the idea. When it comes to advice, I said it in one of my classes this week that the only thing that is free in America is free advice. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry will tell you something about, well, do this or do that, or don't do this or don't do that, even if that person has never followed the same advice. So it's kind of like if it's very important to understand what you are trying to achieve in life and then ask the right people. If you don't ask the right people, you are going to struggle. So a good example, and I was thinking about this example, whether I should use this example or not, because Larry King died this week, actually today. But I mean, if you were to ask, if the question that you are trying to get advice on is how to have a successful married life, you don't want to ask Larry King. Larry King was married 8 times, right? And you don't want to ask Demi Moore. Demi Moore is married 3 times already, right? So ask the right people for right kind of advice. That's the purpose of this session. With that said, I am going to turn it over to Ashish. He has a panel of really great students who will tell you all about their journey so far.
Thank you, Professor, and thank you everyone for your time. Very good initiative, Professor. We are also happy to connect with the students. Unfortunately, no one is visiting campus, so we are also not able to make new faces or make new friends. So very happy that we are connected, even though on Zoom, but we are connected. So we are going to start with introductions. We have some people who have already passed out of MS program. Some of them, like me, are in the final semester. So we'll start with the introductions. They will help you understand where they come from, their background, if they had work experience, or they directly jumped from their graduation to master's program. So maybe Marcelo, you want to go first?
Oh yeah, could be. So thanks Ashish, thanks Professor. I'm glad to be here and help the new students. So my name is Marcelo. I came from Brazil to US almost 2 years ago, and I remember that time I met Professor in a restaurant here in Plano, and that was my first experience talking about my academic life. I mean, in that time I start my master in business analytics at the College of Business. So last December I graduate in my master, and the experience at the UNT during my master was amazing. So, and then I decided to keep learning, and this semester I was admitted as a PhD student under the data science concentration. So at the same time, I am a full-time employee at Microsoft. I have been working on the high-tech industry for more than 15 years. My experience is basically across Latin America. So here in the US, I have been working for Microsoft US during the last 2 years. I am also married. I have 2 kids. So PhD, full-time employee, and the kids. So it's not easy. But in my professional or academic or personal life, so my target is always to keep learning. So this is the key for my life. This is my style, my behavior. So be passionate and keep learning, never seeing opportunity, because otherwise you stop doing useful things and you don't learn anymore. So yeah, so happy to be here one more time. Thanks, Professor and Ashish, and yeah, back to you, Ashish. Thanks.
Thank you, Marcelo. So me and Marcelo we have completed many projects together. So we used to
Oh
be
yeah,
partners. So yeah, it, it was nice to work with you, Marcelo.
yeah, best friend. Thanks, man.
Shweta, you want to go next?
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Professor, and thank you, Ashish. My name is Shweta Batra, and I'm from India. I did not have the lucky chance to have a work experience after my undergrad. I directly jumped. So I would be that person in this crowd. And it was a little tough initially, but I'm hopeful that everything is going to be all right because the guidance that you get here at UNT, it's great. The level of personal guidance that you get at times is also, it's phenomenal because I don't think you get it everywhere else. And the courses that you're going to take, the professors that are going to teach you, everything is going to be very supportive in a great sense. Apart from that, yeah, also, so I am in my final semester now. I will be graduating in May. I think that's all.
Yep. Thanks, Shweta. Max, you want to go next?
So for anybody that hasn't met me in the tutor lab, I'm Max. I've been the data warehousing tutor for the past 3 years. Basically, to follow with what Shweta's saying, I mean, honestly, you have a lot of really good opportunities that come from this program specifically, primarily because Professor Saeed's the head of the program. Like, I don't know if you get those emails that come in, regarding job opportunities or, different events that are popping up, but those are probably, the best things to pursue even while you're still in school. So first of all, you can work on, your interviewing skills as well as to see what kind of jobs are open for this specific field. And then on top of that, again, UNT has great resources for everybody, in the entire school, primarily because they've connected with LinkedIn Learning. And so we have access to all of these different, technical videos and videos to work on our different like presentation skills that we may need in the professional environment, as well as, having 2 years to be able to work on these skills. So I would strongly, as a go-getter myself, advise that you take up those opportunities and learn some of these skills that you're going to need in the job. Like, while we'll cover stats and we'll cover a lot of the theory that's going into, why we do what we do, we may not go as deep into, Python or Power BI or some of these other skills that are big in jobs. But again, a lot of this stuff can be crossed over, a lot of these things that we learn in classes. So I would take the opportunity to pursue these videos and find, how you can make these technologies kind of work for you. I know whenever I was doing my undergrad in accounting, that's really what got me into business analytics. Was I picked up a book on Python, which is free online. It's called Automate the Boring Stuff with Python.com. I worked through that book, and it honestly helped me out with a lot of my accounting classes because I was able to offload some of that logic right into the computer. And while doing so, I was able to break down, okay, why is it that I'm doing it this way? And are there ways that I'm able to, cut out these extra steps that might be superfluous? But, I'll quit talking. I just, again, that's my opinion. And thank you, Professor, for those links that you sent.
Thanks, Max. Fawad, you want to go next?
Hello, everybody. I'm Fawad, and I totally agree with what Max just said. UNT has a lot of resources, and so does our Professor Saeed, and take advantage of those as early as you can. And one thing that I would like to give you guys advice on is to have a plan and just follow that. The most important thing is that when you are in the program, so many things are happening in your personal life as well as your academic life that you just lose track of what you need to do. So just have a plan and follow it and stay ahead of the curve. And in the end, I would just like to give you guys that there are a lot of resources available at UNT. Take advantage of those and network as much as you can. I know has put COVID has not co- COVID has not made it so easily, but you can do it, and that's the best of luck.
Thanks, Fawad. Ankit, you want to go next?
Yep. Hi everyone. This is Ankit Pujari. I'm from Hyderabad, India. After my undergrad, I worked for Amazon for 3 years as a business analyst, and I came here to do my masters at UNT. Um, and this program is like uh, you're in the safe hands because you're in this program. If you go to any other program in analytics, I mean, I would say this is the best. You have a lot of opportunities of on campus, on business building and everything. So you're in really good hands. Now it depends on you how to make use of it, as Fawad had mentioned. So yes, come with a plan. So whenever you go to an interview, you have questions asked, like tell me your best time that you have done a wonderful analytical project, or tell me a time when you have made a predictive model, something like that. So you have to come up with stories, and you need that skill set, and you need that things to speak about. So like, since you have wonderful projects over here, programs over here, and as you go on, you have a lot of projects with you, so you make stories out of it, you put it on resume, and you need to talk about it. So I would say you're on good place. Just the market out there is, they are people. All the recruiters are greedy. They want the best people for the least price. And like there are so many, how many people are there, during COVID, 2019 batch, 2020 batch, 2021 batch to now. So it's gonna get difficult. So I would say make use of the course, make use of Professor Kashif, and you're in a good place.
Thanks, Ankit. Catherine, you want to go next?
Sure, yes. So hey everyone, my name's Catherine, and I'm a senior here in the MSBA program. I'm currently working as an application systems analyst intermediate at Parkland Hospital. Unlike some of the fellow seniors here today who have really impressive resumes already, I started working on my master's right after graduating with my bachelor's, so I had no analytics work experience before starting the program. Actually, my first job working with data, I came to know about through Professor Saeed and the network here. It was an internship working with Parkland. After my internship, Parkland approached me with the opportunity for not just one, but two full-time positions on the team. One was a very technical role, and the other was more on the business side of analytics, which I attribute to the breadth of skills that we learn here in this program. In this job market, you're going to be competing against hundreds, if not thousands, of other applicants for these roles. And what I've experienced is it's not enough just to have the degree. You have to prove you have the skills. So my advice to you is to do more than what's needed just to get through the program or even to get an A. You really should leverage your time here and work on honing your skills to get the career that you want. Push yourself, push your friends. The sky's the limit if you're willing to work for it. Thanks.
Nice, thank you. Shruti, you want to go next?
Hello, everyone. This is Shruti. So I'm in last semester of my MSBA program. I'll be graduating in May. And yeah, so I come from pure non-technical background. So I never did programming before, never touched. So to enter in this program, I took some classes in community college to prepare myself. Then when I joined this program, I really got guidance from Professor Kashif, and with my colleagues here, Ashish and Marcelo. They were my first project mates, so got really good exposure with them. Then when it came time for my internship, I had some problems since I'm not on F1 visa. It's completely different story for me. There were some limitations. So my work permit was in under renewal at that time. I could not join any internship. So, and I didn't let that stop me from gaining an experience. I was actively looking for, I knew about analytics competitions, case competitions that companies organize, and I read about them. And fortunately, I found that one through one of the email that Professor Kashif sent. Since I was actively following those emails, I was able to form a good team with Shweta and one other person. And we were actually in the top 5 finalists. And other competitors were, so under the top 5, there were Wharton Business School, Columbia, and UCLA and USC. So those are the top colleges and I mean, top business schools. So we got that opportunity. We got a really good exposure there with Humana. It's a insurance company, so we really good exposure with Humana and May School of Business people there. Yeah, so I would really advise you guys to actively look for emails from Professor Kashif. There is so much, and also make yourself aware about the resources that you have from university. There is Career Center. There is so many. There is Handshake. Actively follow that. Actively keep looking resources. So yeah, that will help you. I'll share more as we go further in the session. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I think I'm the only one left now, so I will. My name is Ashish Kulkarni. I come from India. I'm from Maharashtra, and before moving here, I was staying in Bangalore for 3.5 years. So before I moved here to the United States, I had like 9 years of experience. I was working with Adobe back there into technical consulting. I was already working in analytics, primarily into web analytics. There I saw a trend where many of my customers would ask me to, hey, dump all the data that you collect from web to either AWS or Azure Data Lake, and then their data scientist would come into picture. So I was wondering like what exactly is happening, and then I could sense the trend, what exactly is happening here. Like, okay, if I continue there, I would be just restricted to data collection. So I thought it's better to upscale. So I decided to do MS. I did my research. I found the UNT program. It is pretty good. I spoke with Ankit. I was speaking with Kashif sir before moving here. So I received a very good response, good guidance, and I decided to pursue my MS. I left my job. I moved here. No regrets at all. I'm very happy that I joined UNT. Under Professor Kashif's guidance, I was completing courses right on time. I had everything planned in advance. So my advice to you is prepare a plan, not just for a semester, but all of your semesters. Stay focused and ensure you are right on track. And you have huge resources available in UNT. Their library is great. You have you name a book, you have e-version of that book available. You can get access to the ebook through library. Even I don't know how many of you know UNT also has a supercomputer. So if you want to do a project where you are crunching huge number of data like a million tweets or like that, you can actually go book that supercomputer and crunch your data. So it's resources are huge. You just need to know which door you have to knock at what time. So I'm sure you will have a very good time here. So that was about me. Back to you, Professor.
Just want to add one little thing about what Ashish said. That planning is key, and I have before even Ashish joined the program, we had a few conversations, and I told him about a few scholarships. So Ashish was so diligent before he joined the program. He actively pursued all the scholarships, and he ended up getting a scholarship before he joined here, right? So, and then he's working. I mean, kind of like almost a full-time job as an intern. So the message here is that it is your career. You have guidance available from me. You have guidance available from the right seniors if you want to ask. You have a lot of resources, like Max said. you have LinkedIn Learning, you have other resources at the university, but the execution has to come from you. Nobody is going to hold your hand and say, where are you in the process? I make myself available to everybody. Almost everybody has my cell phone number. People call me all the times in terms of courses, or if they have multiple job offers or multiple internships offers. So, or even an interview. How do I prepare for an interview? The important thing is you have to elevate yourself to the level where you are getting these job opportunities and internship opportunities. And then, of course, I'm here to help. With that said, Ashish, go ahead with the plan as you thought about. I'm going to be on mute.
Yeah, so the plan is we will start interacting with you guys. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask them. We get a lot of questions on LinkedIn, on social media, different students from India before they move to the United States. They ask questions, hey, what should we be doing? So the first thing that comes to your mind when you start the course is about the degree plan, which subject I should enroll in, whether this is the right subject for me or not, whether I have a background in that subject like Python programming, will I be able to do that or not? So we can start with that. So I will share what exactly I did, and then you guys, other guys can chime in with their stories. Then students, you guys can come and ask your questions. So before even I start, while I was back in India, I created a degree plan. So what is a degree plan? It's nothing, any online document or nothing like that. Just open a notebook or open a Word file, write semester one, either it can be fall or spring, whatever semester you are joining, and just list down the subject. Okay, first semester, these are the 3 subjects I'm going to do the next semester, and ensure that all your 36 credit hours are covered. Now, if the plan looks good to you, that this is the plan that I'm going to work on, send that plan to your advisor and seek his or her opinion. Ask whether the plan looks good or not. Take an approval on your plan. If it is approved, well and good. If not, they will say, hey, the subject that you selected doesn't meet our criteria. It's not STEM approved. You cannot choose that subject. So you already know what hurdles are you going to face. If everything is good, they will say looks good, go ahead. That doesn't mean you have to stick to that plan. Whenever you want, you can shuffle between the subjects or change your plan, but at least you should have a degree plan in place which gives you visibility for next 1.5 year or 2 years, whatever amount of time you plan to spend on study, what subjects you are going to learn, in what sequence you are going to learn, so that each semester, at the start of the each semester, you don't face this problem. What subject should I take? Okay, my roommates are taking other subject. Should I take that or not? So start with a degree plan. That will be the first suggestion. So I know all of you have already enrolled in your 3 or 4 classes for the first semester, but ensure that you have a plan ready for whole of the degree program. That's the first thing that I would like to bring on table. Guys, if anyone else want to chime in here.
Hey, I got some notes I'm writing in the chat that personally I believe you should view. It's just course suggestions for your first few semesters. But if somebody else wants to talk.
I think for first semester, these guys are already enrolled, right? So maybe for next semesters, it might be helpful if they have questions about what courses they want to enroll in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, if they haven't taken these 2 classes, this should be like your priority after this first semester. If basically every single one of your classes is going to draw upon things that you're going to learn in data mining, or if you're in the MBA for business analytics and your BUSI 5100 class, which is your basically introduction to statistics. So all of that, all of your other classes are going to draw from that. And you need to make sure that you kind of time your classes so you take the earlier classes earlier in your college career. Because if you attempt to take like data warehousing or big data analytics before you even take, introduction to databases, it's going to make it a lot more difficult later on in your career. I know personally, I'm taking intro to databases now. This is my last, second to last semester, right? And I'm just kind of flying through the course, but it really would have been a good introduction early on, and it would have made, whenever I did big data analytics or I did data warehousing, it would have made it a lot easier. So that's just kind of, my position on it for intro to databases. With data mining, it's kind of, I would definitely take that as early as you can, just because a lot of these other classes won't make a lot of sense without that, backbone that you're going to get from that course, like understanding, why we do regression, what regression is, and kind of, how we can use it in a business setting.
On a side note, I would like to add that, so you guys have already chosen the courses that you're taking this semester, but apart from that, keep studying Python because it's very essential. If you do it in your first semester, the rest of the other semesters would be, a lot more smoother. And just use the resources, LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, Coursera, DataCamp, whatsoever is available to you, and just learn Python. That is it.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention here that Coursera, some of the courses are free for UNT students. So when I signed up through my UNT email ID, there were some courses that were free. So go there and check that if it is still sponsored by University of North Texas. So you will find really good courses and guided projects there.
Thank you. So guys, go ahead, Max, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, the other thing is that book that I posted in the chat, automatetheboringstuff.com. If you don't have a lot of money or if you don't have the means to use LinkedIn Learning, you can go to that website. Like say you have, really crappy internet. You can go to that website, automatetheboringstuff.com, and it's the free book online. Within each one of the chapters is a YouTube video that describes basically what's going on in the chapter. So if you're somebody who, again, is kind of short on cash, but, you're an audio-visual learner, right? This might be a really good thing to look into. This is actually how I learned Python myself, to be honest. But sorry.
Great. So I see a question in the chat. It is from Vikram. What is the possibility of picking up subjects like supply chain management and marketing metrics in third semester? Please shed some light. So maybe Fawad, it's for you. Fawad is an MBA student.
Actually, the MBA doesn't have a lot of electives. They have their degree plan is very fixed. So they have 6 business courses and then 4 core analytics courses. There are only 2 electives. For MSBA, you can take up to 2 courses which are outside of BCIS or DSCI courses. So marketing metrics is a good course for anybody who wants to get into marketing analytics domain. For supply chain courses, make sure you look for a course that doesn't have a prereq. If there is a prereq, you probably would have to check with the professor in case if the professor can allow you to get in. So marketing metrics, I know, doesn't have a prereq.
Yeah, I know accounting was really hard to get courses approved for that department as well.
So guys, let's have it like question and answer. You guys can ask your questions and we will try and help you with the answers. Feel free to unmute and ask your questions.
Okay, hi. So my name is Rafad, and this is my first semester at UNT. So let me start my video cam. Yeah. See? Yeah. Hello, everybody. So my name is Rafad. It's my first semester at UNT, and I come from a non-technical background. So of course, I am a little scared to join analytics field, but Professor Kashif did make me really comfortable with the course. So I'm going through Python right now. I wanted key points that or websites for Python. I just saw that Max just sent a nice website for Python. I was just onto it. So I want to understand, how do I do my first assignment? Do we have any websites where I can refer just the assignment just for reference. Of course, not for copying it, but to understand how others have done or what kind of data set they have used, just for an understanding. So do you think there are resources available to refer the assignments? Because it's my first assignment and I'm really panicking, to be very honest. And I don't want to make mistakes. I want to do it.
You in the well, I would go to tutoring if it's specifically for an assignment. I would go to tutoring. Quite a few of the tutors are pretty good with Python, so if it's something specifically for Python,
Right.
If you're asking about like websites to go to that can really help out with learning, Python and how people actually use it in production, I would look at Kaggle.com. That's probably your best site. And for everybody here, this is like your most important site anytime that you're dealing with a project that involves a data set, because Kaggle.com has a bunch of free data sets online, but more importantly, you don't necessarily always want to get a data set that's just interesting, right? It's sometimes nice to get a data set that's already been explored, particularly because we're not necessarily writing papers that are to be published, right? We're trying to further our own learning. So by being able to get somebody else's experiment and kind of verify their results, or maybe you get different results, that can really help you out with your learning process as well. And I know a lot of times that's what I would do when learning a programming language, whether it's Python or Go or Rust or Java, right? Was I would just pick up a book that had a lot of these little exercises and then just kind of run through it. Because for two reasons. Number one, most programming knowledge is kind of transferable between the languages because it's really just a logical way of thinking. And it's a lot of it's just dealing with, kind of how the semantics of it, right? How you set things up. So once you get down one language like Python or Java or whatever, it's really easy to transition to the other ones. And you can kind of just see from a major view, what is this language useful for? Because again, Python's not the end all be all. Right? Whenever you go out into the workforce, these are the two that are guaranteed to show up, SQL and Python. But depending on where you go, you might go to a shop that deals in R, which R is a really good statistical language, and it's a lot more accurate than Python, and it has a lot more things that it can do with its visualization software than Python can, right? You might be working at a Microsoft shop where they use a lot of Power BI and Microsoft Excel, and you might have to pick up VBA. So really, the most essential thing to understand is you are never going to quit learning in this particular field, right? And on top of that, you can't rest on your laurels at any point because, like Catherine was saying, this is a competitive market, right? There are people that are learning. Python's like the bare minimum requirement, right? There are people that are teaching their kids Python at 12, 14 years old now. So at this point, we have to be able to not just, take this skill and be able to do something cool with it. We have to be able to do something that, can be beneficial to somebody else, right? Or can provide some form of means for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like setting up a web server or something. So again, what I would do is not just look at, what's available here at UNT, but I would spend a lot of my spare time trying to learn as many of these little skills as I can. And in my case, I went and I just started looking up books online. I know that kind of like went beyond your question, right? And went into general advice, but it was kind of a way to link the two because again, that's like the most important thing that many people who, joined into a program for data science or for business analytics, right? Or one of these AI programs that they don't really, get or think about, right? It's like you hear it, you hear like AI and, oh, you'll make all this money, but you don't really think about, hey, the fact that, you're thinking like this means that everybody else is thinking the same way. And on top of that, the fact that it seems so easy is because it requires such specialized knowledge. You know what I mean? Like you may come in saying, oh, I'm just going to do business analytics, but business analytics is very deep and very wide, right? You got some people that just use Excel. You got some people that will sit there and write the whole entire software itself in like C++ or R or Rust, sorry. Like a base metal language where you're like, oh, I don't even know what's going on here, But
yeah.
And Rifat, coming to you about your concern that, hey, I'm worried if I will make mistakes. So my advice to all the students here is, you are students. No one is expecting perfection from you. No professor, I don't think any professor would expect that you will nail the problem in your first attempt. So make mistakes, because from mistakes you learn.
You learn, yes.
Yeah, and never ever, I would suggest, go to a website where you can find a solution, because every assignment which is given to you has a purpose. That to solve this assignment, you have to learn ABC or these 10 things. Once you know these 10 things, you will be able to solve the assignment.
Right.
So follow the steps, learn those 10 things, then jump onto the assignment part. If you directly jump onto the solution without learning those 10 things,
That's not practical.
yeah, the purpose of giving you assignment fails, and it doesn't help you in long term.
Yeah.
Not just you, anyone here, that if anyone thinks that I can crack the assignments, because I don't think so there is any code that you cannot find online, especially if the language or the programs are open source, you will find almost anything. You should work on logic. If I'm able to think that the way the person who wrote the code cracked it, if I'm able to write in the same way, if I'm solving the problem independently, that skill and ability, how to develop it, is what this course should teach you. So
Absolutely.
focus on the content, what professor wants to teach you, what professor wants to develop the skill in you. You start working on it, then assignment is very easy to crack.
Okay.
And I'm just going to add one thing, Rifat.
Yes.
I come from electrical engineering background. I switched to computer science in my master's.
Right.
I went through the same thing when it was about like learning to program and stuff.
Right.
There's you ask anybody who programs, they will tell you that programming only comes to you if you just sit down, think about it. You have to think in a specific manner, and then get on the computer and start coding. You write one line at a time, and then execute it, and then add one more line, then execute it. You will run into a lot of error messages. You will figure out how do you solve these error messages. That's how you learn programming.
Right.
There's no other way around it. If you try to find a shortcut and try to find a solution online somewhere, you are going to be fooling yourself that, oh, I did the assignment, I know it, but it's not going to help you. So
I definitely
the sooner you get to that, the
Yeah.
sooner you get over this fear that I cannot do it, the better it is for you.
Right, absolutely. I'm focusing on practicing only right now. It's my mind is really vague, so I'm trying to apply what I'm studying in the class. I'm trying to apply it online. So it's all Greek and Latin for me. I don't know where to paste what. Are you understanding my point? That's the only reason I wanted to. Just a sample, nothing else.
Here's the main thing that I would suggest for most people, right? A lot of these courses that you start want you to download Anaconda. They want you to set up Jupyter Notebooks. Okay, Jupyter Notebooks, in my opinion, is not a very good way to learn Python, right? It's good for messing around with data and showing the different steps that you took to get to it. It's really good for showing your work if you want to send it to somebody else. But if you're just trying to learn Python, it's probably the worst effing way to learn it. But what I would do is I would look at the Python IDLE, IDLE. It comes installed with Python by itself.
I have installed IDLE. Yes. I'm using
and basically, like, while you're messing around with it, one thing that you'll notice is it has an autocomplete feature, right? So like if you type in an object name and you type period, it'll show you all the different functions that are with it. And honestly, I wrote an entire DSCI 3710 script. Like, it does every single homework assignment and quiz for it. Like, doesn't specifically do them, but is basically a scientific calculator for that class. And I did it all within that IDLE, right? And again, it's whenever you're trying to initially learn it, you want to learn the software engineering aspects, right? Whenever you're trying to apply it for the job, that's after you already kind of get a basic understanding of it, like Professor was saying, right? And you see the error messages and you can understand what's going on, right? Because whenever you try to do it from Jupyter, you're going to see all these error messages, but you don't know if it's coming from Jupyter Notebooks, if it's coming from the underlying compiler or interpreter that's running that Python code, or if it's coming from your code itself. You know what I mean? Like there can be times where it's unclear. So again, I would mess around with idle, and that book that I showed you, Automate the Boring Stuff, all of those examples are done in idle. And it's the guy who wrote it is not a business analyst. He's a software engineer, and he's writing it from a software engineering standpoint, so you can understand, hey, this isn't just a tool like Excel. This isn't just like one of these other things. This is something where if you really wanted to, you could build a full-fledged website. You could build a full-fledged server, and you could have all your analytics built into it as well because of those free libraries that come with it.
All right, perfect. Thanks.
Rifat, where are you from?
I'm from Hyderabad, India.
First semester?
First semester, it's just done with 2 classes, yeah.
Yeah, so go slow, because what happens, you come with a lot of expectations. You are not only facing issues with learning different programming languages. For international students, it's a different story. It's a cultural change. You not only have to learn programming languages, you have to learn how to interact with people here, how to treat them, how to greet them. So it's not just about which programming class that you are going to choose and how you are going to execute it. It's also like, hey, should I go to Walmart or should I go to Target? You know nothing here. So go slow. You will crack it. Initially, you will find things are difficult, but trust me, they are not. Everyone here will swim through. Don't worry.
Absolutely. Thank you. I've started practicing, but yes, I'm doing practice whenever I can. I'm spending 2 hours a day on programming. Understanding what is a data warehouse. Sir has explained really nicely and in a very simple manner. So I'm trying to apply that logic. So yes, I'm keeping that in mind. But yes, only the application part, I'm finding a little Greek and Latin. But once, if I see somebody, the college is not functioning fully. Otherwise, I would have sat beside an IT person or somebody and see how he's trying to execute, and I would apply the same. Okay, let me execute this. I would do by myself. But just seeing somebody would really boost my confidence, to be honest.
Yeah, so just
about the project.
Give some time. You will crack it. Don't worry. Just be patient, focused, and keep doing it.
Absolutely. I will.
See somebody do it on YouTube.
Yep. I mean, you have like not just data sets on Kaggle, but you have all like whole of the project, right? Like face recognition, NLP, you just name it. You have whole of the project. Right. And when you download the code, it's in the notebook, right? And it's in block of codes. So just go from starting. First, he's importing data. You ran the code. Okay, next. Then he's applying pandas to, do some manipulation. So just go by block till you understand. And wherever you're stuck, you have a lot of people to ask questions for. Okay. So you can go that way.
Is there a website for that?
Kaggle. They have all the projects.
Okay, you're Kaggle. Okay.
It has data and it has all the Python projects as well. So like you have. So that way, and when you said you have like general problem of understanding of what's happening, just go Udemy. Udemy has like wonderful resources. Python for beginners, Python for dummies. There you have the base set. I mean,
wait for a sale though. Like in Udemy, you should never pay more than like $12. If you are ever paying more than $12 or $13, you are doing something wrong. Just so you know. Okay. And it has come up. I knew somebody who told me they paid like $200 for a course, and I said, "You did what?" So they do sales all the time on Udemy. Make sure that you take advantage of those sales.
I say you should leverage the tutors like Max.
Oh man, I'm the worst tutor there is. Don't even listen to these people.
More than you want.
You'll spend 30 minutes learning something that has nothing to do with the class at all. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so we have another question. So in the interest of time, we'll move on to the next question, which is from Olofin asking, like, I want to know about TA and RA jobs, if there are any openings and what is the criteria.
Hey, I can tell you. Okay, so Shweta is right about the criteria down there. Although I would add in Java as well. I just want to say this though, because personally, I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn and through emails asking me if I can assist people with getting TA jobs. The tutors who've been there, we can't help you out with getting these jobs. These are very competitive jobs, and it's hard enough, ensuring the spot for ourselves for the next semester, right? So, I mean, the best thing to do is just like Shweta was saying, work on your skills and make sure that you're strong in them. Like, we're always going to need somebody who's strong in SQL. We'll always need somebody who's strong in how to use Microsoft Excel. somebody who's strong in how to use like SAS or Java, right? Because these are the classes that, well, these are the classes that we have. On top of that, just general statistics knowledge is probably the biggest thing. And by that, I would mean I would get strongly familiar with like hypothesis testing, Z&T values, basically everything that you learn in the first 2 semesters of predictive analytics or the entirety of the class 5100.
I would want to add a point for people joining in spring. I think this class mostly there are people from spring. Like sometimes you'll take on courses like Python and all, and you start writing code on statistics and all that. But I would say prepare yourself on the statistics base, because once you start, writing code on statistics and all, then it will be like, the professor will go with this stats coding and all, then it'll be difficult for you to catch up. So I would say make yourself familiar in that space, and then you'll be able to understand and then incorporate that in Python. So statistics and SQL is the base. Like for every business analyst, you need to have SQL number one, like advanced SQL, and then you can go to statistics, Python. That's up to you, but SQL is number one.
Hey, Marcelo brought up a really good point. Do you want to say it, Marcelo?
Oh yeah, I can do. Yeah. So that's not the advice, but during the master, even during the MBA, you guys will have a bunch of opportunities to learn and get in touch with AWS, GCP, Azure. So there is a bunch of opportunities in the master. So try to get a certification as soon as possible. So today, to get a job, at least in the high-tech companies like AWS, Microsoft, Google, Oracle, so there is a bunch of others. So if you get at least one certification, could be the basic one. You don't need to rush to get the super master blaster certification, but at least just one, it will be a key to get a job in the next 6 months, in the next year, so as soon as possible. So this is one of my advice. So try to get that certification as soon as possible.
Yeah, Marcelo, let me just say something about this.
Sure.
So I would say for the first semester, I mean, just play this. And most of the students are here from India. So just play it as you are the last batsman standing and you have to save the test match. You have to bat for the whole day. So play it one semester by semester. So first semester, your goal should be that if you are taking the Python class, regardless of what happens in the Python class, regardless of how much you learn in the class, your goal should be that you are going to be good with Python, whether it requires you to do something on your own or not. If you're taking the SQL class, the database management class, give yourself a goal that you are going to learn SQL well. Then second semester, as Marcelo said, once you have saved the first semester and got some goals achieved out of it, second semester, maybe in summer, if you're taking only one class, spend some time on getting a certification. You have to give yourself goals. If you don't give yourself goals for every semester, you are going to struggle. So every semester, give yourself a goal in terms of learning. Maybe next semester, some learning goals, some competition goals, or some certification goals, and the following semester do the same thing. That way, you will be able to utilize your time the best.
Good class to take for the certifications. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, sorry, my mic messes up. A really good class to take for those certifications that Marcelo was talking about would be AI for Business with Anna Sidorova. She's going to have you work with I think it's AWS. Am I right, Marcelo?
GCP.
It's GCP, Azure, AWS.
Yeah, she's gonna expose you to all of that, and then she's gonna have you actually do some projects utilizing, like in the case of our class, I think we used AWS and TensorFlow to do some projects. So if I was you, I would probably, line that up for my second or my third semester. So, you can start getting into that and first of all, get some work experience working with Python. But second of all, you can start working on those certifications, right? So by the time that you get out of school or, by the time you're at your last semester, you'll actually have everything set up for a job.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Marcelo, this is Prasad. I have like a quick question for you. Based on your work background and like a work-life balance, like were you able to take like a multiple courses in a semester, or how you used to like manage that? That is one of my question.
Well, that's a good question. So I remember in fall 2019, myself, Shuri, Ashish, we took at least 4. We decided to took 4 at the same time. Remember that, Ashish? It was crazy, man. So it was a crazy semester because we decided to took 4 classes at the same time. And it was Python, Introduction to Python, Database, Introduction to Database, Data Mining with Dr. Torres, and one more. I completely forget the name. So maybe after that, we realized that 4 class at the same semester, it's too much. At least if you have other activities. So then in the next semester in 2020, we decided to do 3. So 3 appears to be more a good balance because you also have assignments, projects, and other activities outside of the university. So as Ashish said, you guys, and include myself, we are new in the country, so there's a bunch of new things that we need to learn. So maybe 3 or 2. So 3 is a good pace to graduate in 2 years. So sometimes I took 4, sometimes I took 3, but yeah, maybe 3 after taking 4 2 times. I can say that 3 it's a good pace.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Marcelo.
Welcome. Yeah.
And I see that Ashish dropped off for whatever reason. Maybe
No,
joined back.
I joined here.
Okay, Ashish.
My
All right.
laptop crashed, so I'm on
Okay.
mobile also.
All right. So any other questions, guys?
Yeah, from
Hello.
where did you started looking for internships? From which semester?
So looking for internships. So if you join in the semester, the earliest that you can intern is in January, which means you should have your resume ready, your LinkedIn profile ready. You should be ready with your interviewing skills at the latest by, I would say, end of July, and actively start applying starting from end of July, maybe earlier. You guys chime in if anyone has any experience, but you have to give yourself 3-4 months. A lot of good companies post internships like at times 5-6 months in advance.
Yeah, I agree with Professor Saeed. I would probably start internships around like your second semester or the summer of your second semester. The summer after your second semester. If you were taking a spring semester then.
Keep yourself ready with the resume and everything, and I would say just go to the website and start seeing for roles, job profiles. What are they asking? What is missing in your profile? Start from there. Then compare the company's interview with interviews at Glassdoor and see what are they asking, and see where you match and mismatch, and then try to improvise and incorporate all of those in on your resume and everything. So I would say start with the day one. Don't postpone it. Just keep applying. Not yet, but keep making the resume ready. Start taking mock interviews with everybody, and once you have that one, because like once you are in the applying session, you apply thousands and thousands. Say if you have like 5 calls, then you want to be there, and you want to, like, in those 5 calls, you want to make sure that you're the best, right? So in order to do that, you have to work from day one.
Yeah, I agree. You have to work from the day one, because the sooner you start, the longer preparation time you get. Work on your resume, show it to 3, 4 your friends. Maybe if you have worked in India, send it back to your managers, ask for feedback, and ask feedback to right people. Like professor said, don't keep on asking feedback. Ask feedback to like 2 or 3 people, but the right people. But the sooner you start, better. And most important thing that I want to clarify, especially to my friends from India, there is nothing like on-campus placement happens like it happens in India. Like before you finish your degree, you have a job in hand. Companies come to your campus and they hire you. Nothing like that is going to happen here. We do have job fairs. You have to be aggressive. You have to show up to job fairs, talk to recruiters, connect with them, network with them. So job fairs gives you an opportunity to connect with the recruiter. It's not where you get interviewed. So interviews happen after the job fair, be it internship or full time. So always be ready with your resume, with your elevator pitch. You need to be always ready for that.
Hey, and I'll say this about interns or about interviews, and this has helped me out so many times with, not just interviews in this field, but whenever I was working, in like restaurants and stuff like that. After every interview, what you should do is you should ask them, if there's anything that you need to work on. My closing line, anytime I interview with somebody, even if it's somebody that's at the same level as me, right? Because it kind of gives me a gauge, of not only how well I'm doing, but also are there maybe things that I didn't keep in mind that come across whenever I'm talking to people. And the most important thing, it makes it look like, which, you really are, but it makes it look like you're open to, getting feedback from other people. And that's probably the most important thing in these jobs. That was literally what I was told by a recruiter was, she said, the hardest thing to find in analytics jobs is somebody who has good personal skills. Like my parents told me growing up, about 50% of the job is just having good personal skills with other people. So, getting that feedback and then actually being able to work on it, I feel like is one of those things that can kind of give you an edge over other people who are interviewing, who are just worried about, the moment, whether they got the job or not, rather than worried about how can this help me, better myself for the next, time that this happens. Because whether you get the job or not, you might end up going into an interview later on, right, for a better position. So it's always good to get that feedback. I mean, in my opinion.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally.
And read your emails is what I would say. A lot of people will be sending you emails. A lot of different departments will be sending you emails. Don't ever think that it's a waste of time to read their emails. People want to help you. That's why they are taking some time out and sending you emails, especially the emails from career team. You have to read them. They will send information about different career fairs, different Zoom sessions which are going to help you in your next job hunting. So read your emails is also what I would like to share here.
So on the emails, just one thing that I'll mention, Ankit,
Sorry.
Take 1 second. So there's a resume session coming up on 26th. Make sure you all attend the resume session. Make sure you complete your resume as soon as you can after the resume session, and then have a session with me or email me the resume, and I'll give you personal feedback. And then from there, of course, you plan the other things and then get ready for applying for jobs. Ankit.
I wanted to say, share my experience, because I'd worked for Amazon before. I did my master's, and then I was applying for jobs. And trust me, I was grilled like crazy over here. So right now I'm working for AWS. I'm a business intelligence engineer, and to get a role like this, uh, my experience was okay, but they grill me for everything. They ask me SQL questions like window functions, this and that, about my experience. Tell me about time when you use a predictive model. Tell me about time, this, that. So I'm saying, if people over here, if there are people who have experience in India, and just don't take it easy, because it's a different ball game over here. I would say you have to, like, you'll understand once you start applying for jobs, and once you hit those 2-3 initial interviews, even then you'll go ahead and understand, oh, this level. So if at that point of time, and if you're investing time to study, like, you're wasting your like OPT time or whatever that is. So it's not easy out there. And like, as Marcelo said, like, like so many companies moving to cloud, and the infrastructure is completely changing, right? The architecture is changing. So like, if you see like last year, 2020, during COVID, and everybody's working from home, like, so obviously everything is on cloud, right? Like, companies are moving aggressively. So if you have an understanding that architecture, in AWS, there are a few main things like Redshift, EMR, SageMaker. For like, even if you have those keywords, like in the interview, you just save those keywords, that would be enough. So you want those keywords, you have to be knowledgeable about it, right? So you have to go through these certifications. You don't necessarily have to get a certification, but you need to go understand what the technology is, like how do I navigate through things, like how do I speak, how do I make an example, and how do I put that in my story when I deliver the interview. Because that one interview, after a lot of hustle, if you screw it up, it's a waste of time and energy. But that's why it's like, for that one interview, you gotta be preparing from day one. So start like prepping yourself, onboard your skills, incorporate that in your resume, and be ready. Like, went back to my ex-employees, and I started discussing about what projects I have done, because I completely forgot about it, right? So like, because they were grilling me, like they're going that in that, like, one question after the other, one question, okay, this one and that one. Like, how do you do that? So I was like, I didn't remember stuff. So I spoke to my managers, how did we do that? Like, how do I tell them? So just keep your format ready. Like, if you don't have a format, and if you don't, like, have something written, then you won't deliver well. Like, if you want something to deliver best way, just follow it on star format: situation, task, analysis, result, everything, every story, just put in those format and just start practicing. And when interview comes, you deliver it, and that's the way. So the competition is real, and it's a different ballgame over here. So all the best to you guys.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
totally agree. Because
We are 8 minutes over. Let's see if there are any other questions.
yeah. I don't see any open questions. Shruti is also helping over the chat.
Okay, so one last time, does anybody have any questions? Unmute and ask a question.
Just thanks everyone for the session and answering the questions. So
Appreciate it. Hey, well, thank you all for giving us the time to sit here and talk to you, and give you all advice or whatever. If y'all ever have any questions, I think a few of us are in the tutor lab. I'm in the tutor lab every Sunday night and Monday morning. So if y'all want to stop by and say hi, or, if you just want some advice, y'all can pop into the tutor lab.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Many of you, I'm happy that I have already interacted with you over LinkedIn. Feel free to continue communicating with us. We are always here to help you. Thank you, guys. And thank you, panelists. Thank you for your time, guys. Best luck and do your best. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Y'all good one. Nice seeing y'all.
Thank you to the
Nice seeing you on
panelists.
Kit.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.